So I've been having issues with my toilet lately. I hear it run a lot and it seems like it feels forever. So I decided to take a look. I open up the toilet and the tank and I notice in the back, wow, this water seems high, even higher than the normal little rim. And I could see that there, probably about an inch. And more importantly, I notice right by the overflow valve, the water's all the way up to the top. I know that's not right, so there must be an issue with the fill valve. The first thing I do is I go and I turn off the water. That needs to be turned to the right. Then I flush the toilet and get all the water out of the tank, or at least most of it. Now I want to look underneath the tank and find where the fill valve connects into the tank. Looks like two bolts, one connecting in the water, which I'm touching now, and the other connecting the fill valve to the tank. I'm not able to remove this by hand, so I'm going to need some tools. I grab some pliers, some locking pliers. I adjust them how I like, and then I use those. If you're looking up towards the tank, you're going to turn that counterclockwise or to the left. Just enough to where I can loosen it up to be able to finger remove. Next, I use the same pliers to loosen the bolt that connects the fill valve to the tank. Same process as before, turning to the left. And at this point, you can see I'm using a cup, which this was my first time doing this, and I didn't realize there was going to be more water coming out. Probably makes sense to soak up all the water that's in the tank, but it's okay if not. You could just use a bigger bucket underneath and that would catch all the water. I caught most of the water in the cup, but as you'll see, I don't catch it all. Once you've loosened it enough with the pliers, you can then unscrew it the rest of the way, and the fill valve should just pop right out. And of course, this is the part, out comes all the water onto my floor, but mostly in the cup. After that, the valve comes right out, and this is what it looks like. After I took the fill valve out, I knew exactly what I was looking for. I headed to my local home store. I like to use the app for my home store to figure out which exact aisle I'm going to before I even walk in the door. For me, that was aisle 39. I was able to quickly locate that, and the bay, which for me was bay 7. And here are all the fill valves. You'll notice some come with flappers. I didn't need a flapper, so I was able to pick out one that just had the fill valve. I usually go with the higher end one. A lot of times you'll notice a cheaper one and a higher end one. I don't want to do this more than once in a short amount of time, so why not go with the best? Once I get it home, unbox everything, take a look. I notice a new ring for the fill valve to connect to the tank. Everything looks pretty similar to my existing one, just maybe a little bit upgraded, and I'm ready to go. I get the fill valve and I place it in. You want to have the fill valve, the top where the blue is, about 3 inches above the overflow pipe. Once you've got that in place, you're ready to screw it in. This also included a little clip to put it on my overflow valve. However, I opted not to use this, and I just stuck the pipe back in that little hole like my other one was, and it should seat nicely. Once I was ready to screw it in, I took the new adapter and went back under my tank that was included. Instead of going counterclockwise this time, I hand tightened it in a clockwise motion. The instructions say to make sure that you don't over tighten. Since I hand tightened, I'm probably going to check in a few days again to make sure there are no leaks once it settles, just to be sure. Once I had it hand tightened, I was able to connect the water supply back and tighten that up as well. You definitely want to make sure that your fill valve doesn't interfere with your flapper, so check that out before you finalize securing everything down. At that point, you're ready to connect the water back. hand tighten that as well. We're going to be checking that in a week from now. And you should be all set, ready to test. At this point, you can turn the water back on. You're going to turn that to the left, which would be counterclockwise. Check for no leaks and let the tank fill back up. Once the tank is full, you're going to want to check the level according to the overflow pipe. You want it about an inch below that overflow pipe, so just make sure it's not higher than that. If it is higher or lower than that, you can make adjustments on the fill valve to raise or lower the water level in the tank. The last thing to check is the water in the bowl. So once you check to make sure that's good and make necessary adjustments, you can flush again. All is well. And as long as all looks good, you can replace the lid and you're good to go. And that is how you fix your toilet fill valve. See y'all next time.